the bag I put books in. It's not my husband.
Yeah, that's a bit intense. Yeah.
This is just showing you how the world was different 17, 18, 19 years ago.
I think
18 years ago.
I think at least now you can get away with, like, the term laptop bag has become so normalized that guys can now carry these without being questioned about their heterosexuality.
It's true. Like with two straps, you know someone is hetero. When they lose a strap, all bets are off. We don't know what's going on with them.
And also, you know, if it's camouflage, it adds even more masculinity to it. No one can doubt you there.
No, it was a boring. I think it was like taupe or something. I don't know.
Didn't guys back then also say, like, hey, Indiana Jones doesn't have a man purse, and so I have the same thing.
I didn't go to the Indiana Jones defense.
Think of that next time somebody calls you an F-slur.
Well, now I'm back because I don't have a car. Well, I haven't had a car for a very long time. I need the extra space of a 2-strap backpack, so I'm back to the extremely hetero. And I'm flashing my wedding ring around as I'm wearing it.
No, yeah, I can't. Yes, it literally side bag just cannot carry groceries. I have a big back. When I go out for grocery shopping, like I did this morning, I need a big old backpack to carry, 2 bags worth of stuff home.
And this has been Bag Chat.
But yes, after Sokka buys his bag, this is when they resume their search for an earthbender to teach him. This is when they pass by the Avatar version of a flyer guy who is perfect. He's like, hey, you guys like earthbending, huh? What'd you know about this? And look, there's a coupon on the back. Like, I love that it looks like it was produced in their world and not in the current world, but it still has like coupons and flyers and get sign up for a year to get this deals.
This reminds me of being in LA and then recently in New York where you get these guys on the streets like, hey, you want to see a comedy show? And technically the comedy show is free, but then there is a 2-drink minimum and the drinks are like $20 to $30.
My first trip to Manhattan was the first time I ever got one of those, hey, you like comedy, right? Flyer handouts, yeah. So this is when Aang takes a lesson from Master Yu, who's voiced by the great Saab Shimono. We've talked about him before, but he's Mr. Sparkle! And also a Broadway legend, but Mr. Sparkle.
That is true. I know him best as Mr. Sparkle, but he was also, I believe he was the sushi chef in the One Fish, Two Fish, Blowfish, Bluefish episode as well.
Yes, that's right. He was the one Japanese actor who wasn't Getty Watanabe that the Simpsons staff knew about. But yeah, he's great as Master Yu here, and he is just in it for the money. And yeah, also that Aang is like smashed in the chest with a rock and sees that this is not for him. This training, but this is when he learns about the boulder.
I think the boulder is gonna win back the belt at Earth Rumble 6.
He's gonna have to fight his way through the best earthbenders in the world to even get a shot at the champ.
Excuse me, but where is this earthbending tournament exactly?
It's on the island of Nunya. None of your business.
Oh, I gotta remember that one.
I'll take care of this. Hey, strong guys, wait up!
What was I thinking? I don't need a new bag. Why'd you let me buy this?
You ready to find an earthbending teacher? Because we're going to Earth Rumble 6.
How'd you get them to tell you?
Oh, a girl has her ways.
And her ways are torture. She tortured them.
Because we do a Futurama podcast, while watching this episode, and, when I did my watch in 2020, I thought, Katara is kind of like Leela. Where she just is constantly annoyed by an idiot, and she's also can be very violent.
She does say hi-ya just as much as Leela does.
And she kind of has to be the stick in the mud most of the time.
Yeah, no, just like Leela, she has to say, like, no, stupid, the correct opinion is this. Mm-hmm. Also, isn't it distracting hearing Scott Menville anytime he voices like a one-off character?
Yes, in fact, as soon as I heard his voice in that clip, I went to IMDb to see if he was credited for Avatar. I guess he was maybe just doing background work, so he didn't get a full credit, but that's him.
Yeah, it's they pulled in their old Mission Hill pal, Scott Menville, to Kevin French himself.
Kevin French himself. Okay.
who almost was voiced by Andy Dick instead.
Oh, yeah. That's the Mission Hill trivia, right?
Yes, yeah, that was when I saw them live. They Bill and Josh mentioned that again, and they were just like, they were basically going like, phew, like on stage. But they said they almost hired Andy Dick.
That would have given Kevin a very weird energy.
Totally wrong, totally. But I hope that this scene taught kids the Nunya comeback, as Sokka basically says, like, "Ooh, I'm gonna remember that one."
I think all the kids who learned it, Nunya, have upgraded to Bofa.
Bofa, it's always fun when a Bofa works on Twitter. It's always fun
I
to
think
see.
my wife had to teach me the ways of Bofa.
She got you good. Also, it's a very 2005 joke or 2006 joke that, like, Katara implies she flirted with the boys to get the info from them, but actually she froze them to a wall and left them there in horrible pain.
I hope they're okay.
They're fine in the next scene.
Oh yeah, they do come back.
So they arrive, they get in the front row seats, which it's very funny, the reveal of, like, why does nobody sit in the front row? It's because you're going to be smashed by flying rocks, which does ask the question, like, why does anybody attend this? You're definitely going to be hurt if you go see these shows. But it's like, why do people go to the Dragon Ball tournaments, you know?
That is, yeah, the Dragon Ball tournaments, the entire audience's life is at stake multiple times throughout that event. This is kind of similar where you're just, there's going to be just debris and shrapnel flying at all angles until the giant badger comes out to clear it off.
I just read a similar One Piece tournament arc where it's like, yep, a flat square and everybody fights. But the great joke was nobody in the audience cared that they were being smashed by flying debris, but also that when they said, oh, the entire ring has been destroyed, it's going to take 15 minutes to replace it, the audience boos, like, boo, 15 minutes, boo.
Yeah, hey, in that Dragon Ball, that ring takes a lot of damage.
They have a lot of budget for ring fixing in the world of Dragon Ball. But yeah, so we meet the head of Earth Rumble 6. It's Sin Fu. They literally say on the commentary he's the Vince McMahon. Like, this is very intentional. He is the Vince McMahon figure, the promoter of this earthbending fighting league.
That's was that Shenfu?
Well, oh right, it's Shenfu. Sorry, it's right. It's written
Okay.
X-I-N-Fu, but you're right, Shenfu. Yes.
Okay, so I didn't see the how it was written. I just what they were saying is what I wrote down.
No, that's correct. I was going off the wiki, but like you said, all these pronunciations are different than how you think they would be.
Let's say wrong, but you know.
But you know what? Fans were really mad that they called him Ong in the last Airbender live action.
I mean, I guess it. You know, the first time you hear him, it's Aang. It's Aang for the rest of time until the sun explodes.
And so we get a moment of that I've experienced at many wrestling events. I have been the Sokka at wrestling events, and other people who I brought with me, maybe they have been like this is just going to be guys chucking rocks at each other, isn't it? It's like, hell yeah! And then you start screaming your head off.
That's what he paid for.
This I don't know, but they did say, I assume it was a Nick censor note that, like, the way you win in these fighting tournaments is ring outs only. You don't knock anybody out or make them submit.
And hey, Smash Brothers, very popular by this point in time. So
You're right.
The child audience, very familiar. We were riding that melee horse for about 7 years until the next game came out.
And currently they just released the second game in the Nicktoons Smash Brothers series.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's some Avatar people in that.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. All right. Now, though, this is where we meet the Boulder.
Round one, the Boulder versus the Big Bad Hippo.
Listen up, Hippo. You may be big, but you ain't bad. The Boulder's gonna win this in a landslide.
Hippo man.
That's Kevin Michael Richardson there as the Hippo, who he did a million secondary voices on Avatar, like all TV shows, pretty much.
Yes. Finally, he's getting those big meaty roles on The Simpsons.
You know, when I look at him, look, lots of big enemies in things have been designed to look like hippos, but I definitely thought, especially the way his mouth is designed, it reminded me of King Hippo from Punch-Out.
Yes, I had to tell myself, well, yes, King Hippo is his appearance is based on a hippo. That's why he's got the mouth and everything. But these guys were 13, 14 when Mike Tyson's Punch-Out came out. So like, I feel like they're filtering their love of that game into this. Why else would you have a fighter called the Hippo in your fighting tournament?
I think so too. But all right, here's the big guest star of the episode. It's the Boulder. And they told a funny story that the Boulder is obviously a reference to The Rock, a.k.a. Dwayne Johnson. And they wrote it to offer it to The Rock to do a fun little cameo. They said that they were told by Dwayne Johnson's agent at the time, The Rock does not do TV roles. And they just flatly turned it down. And so they turned to Mick Foley, a.k.a. Mankind, a.k.a. Dude Love, a.k.a. Cactus Jack. He's had several names. And they basically hire Mick Foley to do an impression of The Rock.
Yeah, I forgot this was Mick Foley. I know you told me, and then I saw a name at the end. I was like, oh, okay. And I know who this is, because would it surprise you that I have read all 544 pages of Have a Nice Day, A Tale of Blood and Sweat Socks?
Wow. You read the whole thing. That is impressive.
My uncle bought it, and he read it, and he gave it to me, and I was like, well, it's summer, and I don't have anything to do. I might as well read 500 pages about a wrestler in his sock, and I did enjoy it. I remember like just the many stories of injuries.
Yes. No, it's I think I've read it like 3 times in my life because it is such a fast, easy read. He's actually a very great storyteller at telling his life story. If I were to tell anybody to read one book about what it is to be a pro wrestler, I would say it's Mick Foley's Have a Nice Day, the first book he did. His other books, hey, if you like it, his other books are good. Well, most of them are good. There's one that it's like Hardcore Diaries, very unnecessary, I'd say. But I like his other books, but it is the first one though. It is the wrestling book. If any book is the book to learn about wrestling, I'd read that one.
Is Hardcore Diaries like when Kevin Smith would publish his blog posts and sell them to you at Barnes & Noble for $30?
Basically, it was him doing a diary of like a year of his life, and it's just a lot of complaining. And it's just, even he admits it's one of his rougher books. But I think he actually might have been working on it during the production of this show, even. But
okay. Well, to tell you how dumb I am, it wasn't until maybe the third appearance of the Boulder when he starts referring to himself as the Boulder a lot. I was like, oh, it's The Rock.
Yeah.
And then I felt very dumb because, yes, of course, the Boulder, The Rock.
No, and Mick Foley has a long history with The Rock. They had many wrestling matches, both as a tag team and against each other. If you've seen the movie Beyond the Mat, it is The Rock who bashes in Mick Foley's head horribly as part of an act. It wasn't like, but it's chilling to watch in the movie when you see his children see Mick Foley have his head bashed in by The Rock. But so him and The Rock have a very long history, which makes it funny that Mick Foley is hired to imitate him when playing the Boulder.
The Rock didn't want to do TV, but now there are 3 seasons of that Young Rock show. So